Okay, guys, we are back with Jake, NoRegret. We were talking a bit about Korea, coming to Korea, and also the setup of the house at the moment that you guys are running over there. And you told us a bit that it's going well, that you are having everything set up, and that you also are working on a nice little project that you will hopefully release soon. Coming to StarCraft itself. So, congratulations on your qualification to GSL.
Thanks.
Um, I, s- you were being very humble about it, and now, like you told me, yeah, you sneaked in somehow. But I still, for me as a fan and outsider, that is impressive, man. And you, yeah, you beat Impact in the qualifiers 2 times, and then you had quite a tough group, in my opinion. Um,
Dark and Hero. It's a pretty tough
exactly.
group.
Yes,
Essentially, the
yes.
best Zerg and one of the best Zergs and one of the best Protosses.
So tell us a bit about that experience. So how did it feel to qualify? And then obviously how was it? How was the preparation? And how do you feel about the whole thing now?
So I guess qualifying is like very regular thing, like the qualifiers. So I help with like moving because we all like to take our own monitors, just because the monitors there are really bad. Like they're not like bad monitors. They're just not 144 hertz, and they're a little bit different. Like they're different size. It just doesn't feel right to use their monitors. So we bring our own.
Hmm.
And there was a lot of us this time, like 7 or something of us
Mm.
altogether.
Hmm.
And the second wave, because there's morning and afternoon, so essentially we only need to bring 3 monitors because there's only 3 people in the morning, 3 people in the afternoon. But there was 4 people in the afternoon. We only had 3 monitors, so it was like, well, what are we supposed to do now? Because one of us has to use the shitty GSL monitors or whatever. So I was like, all right, well, I'm probably least likely to qualify, so I'll just take the 60 hertz and give them the best chance to qualify. Because I'm the manager, I might as well take that sacrificial position, I guess you could say.
Hmm.
So I did that, and then I qualified. So just proves that I'm a better player than Neeb, right? No, I'm just kidding.
Impressive, impressive, impressive.
Um, just a joke. I think obviously I didn't expect to qualify. Looking at my bracket, I saw the path, right?
Hmm.
Like I saw the path that was taken to be the only path I qualify. Obviously, I'm not going to beat innovation. Like it's just not going to happen. I'm not. It's really not going to happen. Like, have you ever seen innovation lose a GSO qualifier before? Like, it's never going to happen. So,
Hmm.
my second choice, I guess, would have been Drogo, but my ZVP is not as good as my ZVZ by far. And Drogo, I've been living with him, and there's a lot more like metagaming, I guess you could say. Whereas Impact's kind of like a fresh slate.
Hmm.
And those are the players that aren't expecting me the most, is the fresh slate ones, because those are the ones that are like, holy shit, what's going on right now? Like, there's links everywhere.
Hmm.
So I saw the path that Impact. I would play Impact, drop him to the losers bracket. He would beat Drogo, and then I'd beat him again. And then that was the path that happened. Um, I was actually in the last series. I was down the first game,
Hmm.
so I was pretty nervous. And then I won the second game, and I won the third game. It was really close, but yeah, I was ecstatic. It's crazy. It's like running around the studio and yelling.
Nice.
It's just overwhelming achievement, I guess you could say, for me, because
Mm.
I don't have like that many achievements. Like obviously I'm
Hmm.
good,
Hmm.
but I just don't have that much like to back it up. You know,
Yeah, I
um,
mean, yeah,
it's hard.
yeah, it's quite a tough thing. I mean, the environment you are in. So I mean, but you got happy. I'm happy to hear that because I watched the your short thing on Major Special, Juan,
Mm.
and I mean he was like when he qualified, he was
Just
really
like stone cold.
stone cold, man. I was like,
Yeah.
what's happening? So.
Usually, I mean, obviously the first time is a lot more special for everything.
Mhm.
Like, I remember when I got Grandmaster for the first time, I was running around my house screaming like the exact same way I did in GSL.
Mhm.
And then the second time, I was just like a brick wall again. Like, who cares? You know, I already did it once. So it's kind of like that, but at the same time, he also hadn't slept at all that entire GSL qualifier.
Yeah.
Like he just went there, and also he didn't beat like a crazy player. Like it wasn't a crazy close series. I think playing a crazy close series, even though you feel like you're playing worse, is actually more of an exciting thing. You know what I mean? Like if it's a one-sided series, it just doesn't feel as I guess hard. I don't know how to like. It doesn't seem like there's as much tension, I guess you could say, and that tension being relieved when you qualify. And that's usually when you get that huge like burst of excitement, right? Like once that tension's gone and you know you've overcome whatever it was, that's when you're like really hyped. So if there isn't that, then I guess you're just kind of like neutral because you didn't really feel like you were worried anyways.
So that was the qualifier for you. It was exciting, and then you got your groups. And how satisfied are you with your run?
I mean, honestly, after qualifying, it doesn't matter, you know?
Okay.
Like, it just doesn't matter anymore. Like, you've already code S. Like, even if I'm not expecting to advance. No foreigner has so far in 2017, 2016, 2015, 2014, you know? Like, never. There's never been a code S round of 16 foreigner since, like, very early on.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, I actually felt like my group was okay. Like Hero plays weird and Dark's a Zerg, and I didn't. Terran is my worst matchup, and I didn't get any of them. But at the same time, the caliber of player I was playing was so scary. Like Dark and Hero are people that you see laid on in the GSL. Like laid on in every tournament they play in. To be fair, like. So I practiced a lot. I played like 16 hours a day every single day up until that match. And it didn't even matter. I still got destroyed, you know. But I felt like I was improving a lot. So even if that's kind of the mentality I went in. Like it gives me motivation to practice, and even if I don't advance, it's still practice that'll be kind of propelling me in my esports career, I guess you could say, right? Like it's gonna bleed over to Montreal, so it doesn't matter.
I mean, yeah, obviously, and you will be. To be in that environment, to be in the booth, that gives you also experience on a different level.
Yeah, that was one of my first times playing in front of a real crowd ever. Like, I've played when I was really young. I don't know if you remember a tournament called Hell It's About Time. Base Trade did that. But that was the first tournament on stage experience where I beat a Korean. But seeing a common thing there, beating Koreans.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was one of my first experiences. I've had like a couple experiences with Home Story Cup, but like really, I need this experience, right? Like these are the things that I need once I go into like WCS and DreamHacks and stuff. I feel like I'm getting a lot better. I was a little bit nervous, but it wasn't overcoming me. Like I wasn't so bad that I couldn't, you know, like I couldn't focus or anything. It was just like I could feel I was off. Like it was not my practice environment for sure, but it was fine. I felt like in the ZVZ series, I was so consumed by it that I didn't notice at all. I was just playing at my home, you know what I mean? I was so consumed by like micro and like just my pace in ZVZ is really fast. Like by far my fastest matchup and just microing everywhere at once. So once that kind of happens, I get lost in it. I get lost in microing and stuff. So I did feel in the ZVZ series that didn't affect me at all, but the ZVP series was really definitely the one that affected me.
Yeah.
But not that much still. It wasn't enough that I could say I lost because of it. I don't think. It's just Hero. He's really good.
Yeah, man. You achieved something that not many people achieved over the last years of Starcraft 2. So still very impressive.
If you watched that vlog, that was my goal, was to get Code S.
Yeah.
Like when I came here, that's what I wanted to do. So once I did it, feels a lot better now. I feel like if I do go home at any point, I've done what I set out to do either way. But not planning on going home anytime soon. But if I did.
So obviously you will go to the qualifiers next time?
For GSL, yeah.
Yeah.
I play in them every time, even. Because there are chances to just get lucky brackets. It hasn't happened to me yet, but like I've seen players get them. Like I guess you could say Major's bracket was pretty lucky. I mean, you had to play Seed, who hasn't really been playing much at all, and Laser had to play some dude named Prince, which none of us have ever heard of. Like, it just happens sometimes. The first season, I would say by far is the easiest. So, like, there are no seeds from the higher up, the last GSL, and it gives you like an extra slot in the bracket just to get lucky, I guess you could say. And it's a lot of money. So, like, if you do get lucky, it's a lot of money. Like, $3,000 is a lot of money.
Coming to that, you are mentioning something now that for me is always interesting. At this point in time, how do you see as a player the situation of Starcraft globally? Does it make sense to become a pro nowadays, or is it too much struggle? I mean, you're mentioning now the prize money or the money that you got out of it.
I think for new players it's hard, but to be fair, any established esport is hard to get into as a new player, period. Any of them. CSGO, League of Legends, Dota, all of them. If you want to go and play professionally right now, it's hard. Like, you have to practice, you have to catch up with everybody, you know? There's no, like, I'm just arriving and being, like, one of the best players, right? Like, all these people put in a lot of effort. So you got to pick your esport, and you got to pick what you love doing, because you're going to be putting in a lot of hours to become a professional. But that's not the fault of the esport, right? It's just how it works, period. And all these people established the meta before you even get into it. So I don't think on a global aspect that Starcraft is any different than any other esport. You know what I mean? And I think the prizing is totally worth it if you're going into it. Like, looking at DreamHack Montreal, it's a North American only. Well, not North American. It's foreigner only. And if you get round of 32, that's $1,000 or whatever. Like, coming 32nd in a foreigner only tournament is not impossible. It's not unheard of. And we see a lot of people sneak in, like I did to GSL, sneak into those things that you never even hear of, you know? Up and comers and whatever you have it. Cloudy made round of 16, who's been playing here, but like relatively unknown. That's $2,500. Like, plus you get the challenger money. Like, there's just money, right? Like, it's not unheard of. And you know, rent is $270 here. So I mean, if you get $3,000, it's a lot of rent.
Nearly a year can make a 10 months.
It's really not to the point where, like, oh, I think all the pro gamers are starving, you know? And I do think it's a little top heavy, but to be fair, I think that's what pushes a lot of people to be competitive. You know, it's that first place. It's not that 32nd place. You know, if the first place was cut in half, it'd probably be like less of a strive thing to do. But like, the global finals is $700,000. $700,000, Alex. He's looking at me.
That's good.
He's looking at me.
Hi.
This is the BlizzCon champion. It's an interview.
Yes. Greetings to all of them. Yeah. I mean, yeah, man. So I hear you. But what would you say about StarCraft in general? Would you agree with some of the statements that it's stagnating, or is it even shrinking?
I mean,
or, yeah.
If it's stagnating, it's in a good spot. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, looking at the war chest pulling in Okay, it added $200,000 to the prize pool, and that was 25% of the proceeds from war chest. And who knows where it is right now? Who knows? It's not even counting anymore, I don't think. 200,000 times 20, or is it's 25%? That's $800,000, I think. I'm not gonna say I'm a math genius here, but I'm pretty sure that's $800,000 they made off of war chest. That is the full BlizzCon prize pool plus some. Like, I think StarCraft esports are perfectly fine. I think our community is doing relatively better than it ever has with its like appeal to the casuals. Like, if you come into like Heart of the Swarm and early Legacy, well, there was nothing for casuals. There was no Archon mode. There was no what is it? Co-op. Like, there's none of that stuff. Nothing. No mutations. Nothing new. No, nothing to buy. Like, the game is way better than it was, and I think it's only getting better and better. And I think it's reflecting in our esports too, where we're seeing higher viewership, even if it's not by much. I feel like when we're looking at events, they're just doing better. And the community has always been really strong, really tight knit. and it's a really diehard community. You know what I mean? Like when these Starcraft fans are insane. Watching Take TV like raise $20,000 in like 10 minutes or something. I don't know what it was. It jumped insane amounts of money. You know, like this community is like one of the most supportive communities I think we have. And the only thing that hurts us is the stigma is that we're dead. And to be honest, it's not true. It's not fair to say that when you're comparing us to the original esport, I guess you could say, because it was like the birth of Twitch TV at the time.
Sure.
But I think we're in a great spot, and I don't. In my mind, I'm never worrying like is my career gonna die like in the next year? Like I just don't see it. And I think if for whatever reason Blizzard steps away from StarCraft, it would be to go into another RTS because they have the RTS market down, and it's not like they're losing money. There's no way. Like looking at the war chest pulling in $800,000, there's no way they're losing money. Like think about all of those like voice packs. I know everyone buys those voice packs. You know, like you got to get that tasteless voice pack. It's insane. You know.
For sure.
But and every time they do a new one, like it's like you just get teased into it. Like the Total Biscuit one, and there's an In Control one coming up, and it's just I feel like StarCraft's in a great position right now.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, as a fan and a casual, I feel that people keep underestimating us, and as a community, and also underestimating the industry. And I mean, so I'm happy that you are excited. So that excites me also, obviously, and that you being in Korea, I think you are close to important things happening. So I'm happy for that insight from your side. Yeah. If you could add anything freely without any repercussions to StarCraft as a game or as a scene or content, what would you wish for? What would you add to what is already happening?
I think the one thing that StarCraft lacks right now is individual player support out of teams. Or out of tournaments, rather. This is obviously for the higher, like the players. I'm not going for like the community. Like I would add a lot of things for the community, like specifically, whatever it may be. I think one of the community things I would add that I would be ecstatic for is observing your friends, even if there's a delay. Like all the other esports have it, right? Like League and whatever else have the observe game button. I think it just helps you. Like imagine if you could just hop into a game of like. I guess the one problem is people wouldn't want their strategies to be shared, but at the same time, I don't know. I would deal with it if I was them. Or it should be your friends only, so I guess it doesn't even matter. You know what I mean? You should be able to just turn that option off. Anyways, enough theory crafting with myself. I think that would be great for like the casuals, and for the players. I think a lot of teams have pulled away from StarCraft, and I think it's very sad. Like I don't think it's deserved. Like StarCraft viewership is definitely worth the amount for per player investment, and I think it's probably one of the best investments you can make for as a team, simply because you don't have to pick up 5 people. You know what I mean? Like imagine the investment and commitment you need to do to pick up a League of Legends, a CS:GO team, or something like that. StarCraft players are asking for like $200 in travel. You know what I mean? And like you getting that potential to like 20,000 viewers or whatever, which is still a lot if they make it far. Like someone like Neeb is doing great things for Ting, you know what I mean? And he'd be a great investment compared to like a League of Legends team. If you had millions of dollars, sure. But then you have a higher like I don't know I'm trying to think of the word. There's a legitimate word for that. Return of investment, I guess.
Yeah.
Because you're investing a lot more, you're expecting a lot more. So I think it's a little bit lower scale than a lot of teams are thinking, you know? Like it just doesn't seem like it's that much, but I think it's definitely a worthwhile thing. It's just like a lower scale thing.
I like what you're pointing out. Although obviously I miss Pro League and I miss the teams. I mean I love that aspect of our game. I think you are mentioning something that is really really worth considering and doing more advertisement to. I mean. Look at me, doing research about your background, Nerd Street Gamers. I never heard of them until I looked them up because they are sponsoring you. So
Right.
now I found out about them. Now I checked out their stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
I knew Cheesadelphia.
You like
Yeah.
if you knew what my salary was, it would be like shocking. It's just so little. It's not like pennies. Like I would say I have one of the better North American salaries, and it's less than $200 a month. You know what I mean? For a Code S Zerg player, less than $200 a month is like that's pretty good, I would say. Like when I played, I must have had at least 8,000 to 9,000 viewers, and for like $200, getting 9,000 viewers to see your jersey or whatever, like, and that I'm not even one of the better players. Like you can get people for like 400 that would be in GSL every single season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyways, it's just my tangent. I honestly think the death of Pro League is one of the worst things to ever happen to StarCraft. I don't think it should have ever happened. I feel Blizzard should have bailed it out, or Blizzard should have stepped in and done something, or restructured it. If it was viewership that was the problem, like there should have been some sort of restructure. Like, I just feel like it should never have happened. Like, it had gone on for so long. I don't know. I just don't feel like it should have ever happened. I know that they had sponsorship issues, but I feel like Blizzard stepping in and kind of bailing it out would not have been a bad investment. You know what I mean? To keep all the StarCraft 2 teams alive in Korea.
And
Like even if it was like $100,000 to keep every single StarCraft 2 team alive in Korea, I think it would still be worth it, the investment. But
Absolutely.
this is just, I'm not an economics major. It just feels like that was one of the biggest things, and it's not reversible. You know what I mean? It's not like the teams can come back. It's not like you can just restart it. It's a lot bigger of an investment to restart the league and not have 100% sure if the people are going to come back. We don't know if the teams would come back if we restarted Pro League. Probably wouldn't, to be fair. I don't think Kespa would come back with the like KT Rolster and SKT and all those teams. I don't think they'd come back. I think it's too late already.
Yeah, and that's a sad thing. And I mean, you could see that at GSL versus the World. That was, for me, it was an amazing event. And actually, the most I was looking forward to was the team fight. Although, obviously, the individual players playing against each other and all that, I mean, that was cool. And I enjoyed that. But the team fight, that was the one thing that I was excited about. And but, you know, it goes so quickly. On Team Liquid, there was some discussion when the guys announced the setup, so which player goes against what player, and then suddenly they all were on, it's all mirror matchups, and so there's a whole
To be fair, the players pick the maps like with the help of the captain, I believe. So a lot of mirror matchups are going to happen because you're picking the map that's best for your race. I think a better thing would have been more of a blind kind of thing. Obviously, there's less control with the captains, but I think that would have given you the more diverse thing. Or if they did Pro League style where you're sending in snipers, I think that would have been a lot better too. Like if you did Pro League style, you actually get a lot more. You probably get a lot more closer matches. You know what I mean? It's not blind, and you can send in people that are good against that race on that specific map. And there's a lot more captain coordination. Like I think Stefano would have been utilized a lot more if they had given it that style. Like that's what the coach is there for at the time in like Pro League.
Let's hope for the best. Maybe one day. And
I honestly think there were some good things that happened to the disbandal of Pro League, but I still think it was not, like a positive thing for the community.
Yeah, I agree.
I really wish that Blizzard would have restructured it, taken control away from Kespa and kind of given the players more freedom. But I guess the problem is the teams would always have the control over the players because they're the ones paying them. So like if the team was like, no, you can't play in any other tournaments, then it's just a thing you have to deal with because you have a salary. It's kind of nice that they don't have to do that. And I hope if they did do another team league, which I still think a team league would be amazing here. I wanted to do my own. I actually had an idea where I was kind of pitching it, but not really. Like this is just an idea if I had a lot of money, which is not even that much, is a housing unit, an office, and then a housing unit in one building. Like they have buildings that are just offices and housing units. And then in the office, we'd have our practice area. Like just a big practice area. It'd be like this entire house, but practice area, where I would have room to run team leagues and stuff like that, where I can just invite like one player and have them build a team, and then have like just a team league batch, kind of like VSL, but like no qualifying spots or qualification, and then just have them over, like every other week, just do like a kind of home story cup / pro league, and I think that would be fun as shit. Like you get to still have that like You still have that coordination and that strategy, but it's also a lot more laid back. It's not like Pro League where you can't drink water without your coach's permission. Stuff like that. So I think hopefully next year I'll be able to do something like that. Like I still have that in mind. I still have working around that. Current house is not big enough to do it. Like it's close. Like if I had only 4 people here, I could definitely do it. The problem is I could never invite 2 away teams to play against each other. And it would be really biased if I had my own team playing versus a foreign team every single time. I kind of want it to be like a team league where I have 2 foreign teams coming. If we ever did something like that. So we'll see. I mean,
so what I'm picking up, and I like that, man. It's that always makes me happy when I see somebody like you, really, being creative in a positive way, thinking new stuff and ideas, and not looking back at what happened, but still looking forward, looking at possibilities. So
it's
that's
a way to make Pro League better. If I could make my own Pro League, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
Give the players full control over their team, because they know who they would work with best, and they know who has the most potential out of their group or whatever. Like, I feel like taking out the team restrictions in a Pro League would be a lot. It would be a lot different. It would be the same but very different, where you have teams of friends and teams of like strategists, versus like teams that are forced to be together because they all have the same contract. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, I'm not saying that Pro League didn't work well for players. I'm just saying that I think there's a lot of potential in people picking their own teams, because they still want to win and they still know who has the most potential. And we would see a lot of more up and coming people. It's not going to be the same name every time, I think. Like, there's a lot of snipers, you could say, in Starcraft.
I think that's the loss of Pro League at this point in time. I was thinking about that yesterday, that the team leagues offered chances for players to be visible that otherwise would never have been maybe visible.
For sure.
Yeah. So I agree
100%.
with you, man, and I think you are mentioning things that hopefully will be a reality. Maybe next year when you can.
It's very possible. I was
happen.
talking to people.
Okay, cool.
Some people.
And
you know what people I'm talking about. The people I'm not allowed to talk about, but they're people. That start with a big B.
And they are real people.
They are real. Anyways, talking about it, we'll see what happens. I think even if we just do it for fun, I can't do it regularly, something will happen, I'm sure, with the team league.
Yeah.
But it would be really nice because we're running a foreigner team house, so we can have a foreign team in this team league. That would be cool, I think.
I'm all for it. Let me just take a quick break here, and then we are back for our last part, and then we close our interview.